The impact of harassment through social media on interpersonal communication in the digital age. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zachary Luskowski, and today I will be addressing a pressing issue that impacts how we interact and communicate in the digital age. The impact of harassment through social media on interpersonal communication. Social media platforms have revolutionized the way we connect, but they also bring challenges, including the troubling rise of online harassment. To set the foundation for our discussion, let's first define what we mean by harassment. Legally, harassment refers to unwanted behavior that causes distress, fear, or intimidation, which can include actions like threats, stalking, or repeated unwelcoming messages. These actions often violate laws designed to protect individual safety and privacy. Psychologically, harassment can be understood as a pattern of aggressive or hostile behavior intended to harm, intimidate, or belittle another person, leading to emotional and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and stress. Throughout this speech, I will explore how this harmful behavior manifests online, its effects of our ability to communicate effectively, and potential solutions to create a safer digital environment. In today's digital age, social media platforms have become the world's main source of interaction. The phenomenon of harassment poses a significant challenge to interpersonal communication. Harassment on social media, manifested through abusive messages, cyberbullying, and trolling, has disrupted the foundational elements of effective communication, which is creating a barrier for healthier interpersonal relationships. The argument determining whether or not harassment on social media fundamentally undermines interpersonal communication are found through the incitement of fear and distrust, and ultimately results in negative mental health outcomes. The entity limiting interpersonal communication in this context is persuasive culture of harassment, which is often perpetrated by anonymity and a lack of accountability. This not only affects individuals, but also undermines a whole community in the interactions of the digital world. Social media harassment exists in various forms, ranging from cyberbullying to more subtle aggressive behavior like trolling and doxing. The entity that is limiting interpersonal communication through harassment is multifaceted. It includes both the platforms that allow harmful behavior to persist and individuals who perpetrate the harassment. At the heart of the problem, the nature of anonymity on social media platforms, which emboldens users to engage in behavior they may exhibit in face-to-face interactions. Anonymity, combined with lax content moderation policies, creates an environment where harassment can thrive without consequence. The entity limiting communication is primarily the social media platforms themselves. While companies like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok provide guidelines against harassment, their moderation systems are often underpowered and inconsistent. These platforms are designed to maximize user engagement, often prioritizing sensational and controversial content that draws attention and even involves harassment. The second facet of entity is the individual user. Harassers range from anonymous trolls to known individuals, and their actions could vary from direct personal attacks to more insidious forms of harassment, such as spreading false information or inciting others to participate in the abuse. Often, these individuals are emboldened by the viral nature of online content and minimal personal consequences they face. Harassment on social media comes from many sources. It can originate from cultural conflicts, political disagreements, or political personal vendettas. According to Pew Research Center, harassment often stems from a lack of accountability, which users feel they can act with impunity due to relative anonymity provided by social media platforms. Furthermore, algorithms drive social media content, prioritize sensationalism and negativity, making harassment a common byproduct of the platform dynamics. Social media harassment exists because the platforms are built to prioritize engagement, often at the expense of a user's safety. Controversial or harmful content generates more reactions, shares, or comments, which keeps users engaged. This leads to a system where negative behavior like harassment are indirectly encouraged. Additionally, harassment persists due to the inherent anonymity that shields harassers from real-world consequences. The lack of robust moderation further exaggerates the problem, leaving users vulnerable to attack. Harassment on social media can take on many forms. It can be direct, such as sending threatening messages, or indirect, like spreading rumors or false information about a person. The mechanisms of social media, likes, shares, and comments, allow harassment to quickly gain visibility, creating a feedback loop where more people engage in or are affected by harmful content. Moreover, harassers often operate within echo chambers, where aggressive behavior is normalized and even encouraged by like-minded individuals. This culture makes harassment appear acceptable and often leads to a cycle of abuse that is hard to break. The causes of harassment on social media are rooted in the combination of anonymity, lack of accountability, and the design of social media platforms themselves. The algorithms that drive content visibility reward inflammatory and sensationalist posts, pushing users to engage in aggressive behaviors to gain attention. Moreover, social norms in online spaces have not fully developed, allowing harmful actions to persist unchecked. The negative effects of harassment on interpersonal communication are profound. First, victims of harassment often withdraw from social media, which limits their ability to engage in conversations and share their perspectives. This leads to a less diverse range of voices online and contributes to the formation of echo chambers where only certain viewpoints are heard. Second, harassment causes significant psychological harm, leading to anxiety, depression, and in some cases, suicidal thought. These mental health challenges further reduce the ability of victims to communicate effectively, both online and offline. Finally, the presence of harassment degrades the overall quality of communication on social media, making it harder for people to trust one another and engage in meaningful dialogue. To counter and manage the problem of harassment on social media, a multi-pronged approach is required. First, social media platforms must take greater responsibility for moderating content and protecting users from harassment. This can be achieved by improving moderation systems through the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect harmful content before it spreads. Platforms should provide users with clear tools for reporting harassment and ensure that reports are handled swiftly and effectively. According to research by stronger content moderation policies can significantly reduce the prevalence of harassment on social media. Second, education is a vital tool for also reducing harassment. Schools, workplaces, and community organizations should offer training on digital literacy and online communication. Users need to be educated about the consequences of online harassment and taught how to engage in respectful communication online. By fostering a culture of empathy and accountability, we can reduce the likelihood of harmful behaviors taking root. Finally, governments and regulatory bodies should step in to create stronger legislation around online harassment. Many countries have laws that address cyberbullying, but more comprehensive regulations are needed to hold platforms accountable for allowing harmful content to proliferate. These laws should ensure that platforms invest in more robust moderation systems and that repeat offenders are held accountable for their actions. When analyzing the causes of effects of harassment on social media, we can apply both deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductively, we can start with the premise that harassment disrupts interpersonal communication by creating an unsafe environment for dialogue. Given this premise, it follows that harassment would reduce the quality of communication on social media, and users become less willing to engage in conversations that may lead to abuse. Inductively, we can observe how these individual cases of harassment impact victims. For example, research shows that victims of harassment are more likely to withdraw from online spaces and experience negative mental health effects, such as anxiety and depression. For the individual cases, we can infer that harassment on social media leads to a broader cultural shift where open communication is stifled. Analogically, we can compare social media harassment to bullying in physical spaces, such as schools and in workplaces. Just as bullying creates a toxic environment that limits communication and fosters fear, harassment on social media creates a similar hostile atmosphere where individuals feel unsafe to express themselves. In conclusion, harassment on social media poses a significant threat to interpersonal communication It limits free expression, silences diverse perspectives, and contributes to a toxic environment that undermines meaningful dialogue. To address this problem, social media platforms, governments, and individuals must take proactive steps to combat harassment and create a safer, more respectful online environment. Only by addressing the root cause of harassment and promoting a positive communication, we can hope to restore the integrity of interpersonal communication in the digital age. Thanks.